Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is enjoying, and hopefully, weather is improving in all parts of the world. At least, my hope so. I'm having good sunshine today in London, so hopefully, would be having some more time out. And I wanted to check how you planning to spend your weekend. For me, I have planned to cook some Indian dishes today, and obviously on the sweet side. So I'm trying to make gulab jamun if somebody knows about it. That's my thing today. How about others? What you're planning to do? Anyone doing anything interesting? Please share, and we will quickly get started. Still dark in the night. Yeah, Parna, we should. I want to keep it like you, and I want to send it to you in a fresh way. But yeah, means sending it from here to there. I'm not very sure that it would be that tasteful. That's first time I'm going to try. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Elizabeth. Altamash, nothing to be here. 3 a.m. Oh, I agree. 3 a.m. is this. I will really appreciate that you are coming to this session at 3 a.m. Pav Bhaji, Anuradha, that's I had last weekend. Taken printout reading data analytics white paper. Kapil is all about white paper nowadays, I know that. And planning to have a good biryani. Satyam, that makes sense. Just done with marathon. That is good one, Nivedita. And Digi both, good morning. GK need to have gulab jamun to stay awake. Yeah, I agree. But no, I have different opinion. If I eat too many gulab jamuns, I cannot stay away. All right. Anyway, thank you. And let me add other team members to the screen and we will get started. So we have Prasad and we have Kapil and we have Parna. And this is the last session for batch 05. But obviously, we are not going away for long. It will be just a pause and resume kind of a stuff. And we would need more information from you that how we can make these things better. So the session would unfold in a way that we would be having two guest speakers and they have graciously given us time to talk about their experience with BeSA. Then we will go for well architected trick between Kapil and me, and then at the end, Parna will talk about how to think like an essay. So that's how things will unfold. Prasad has to drop off in 10 minutes, which I know. So, Prasad, you want to say something? Kapil, Parna, you want to add something? Feel free.
No, thank you all for joining for 14 weeks this time continuously. It's been
Exactly.
a long run. And rest assured, I will be back after a brief pause. And yeah, during that pause, Discord channel will be our way to keep communicating. Feel free to keep using LinkedIn also, but yeah, Discord is much more interactive in terms of engaging with the community. So let's be uh, active there, and feel free to keep sharing any ideas for what we should be covering in the next batch. We do have some and we are collecting more ideas, but yeah, in this beef pros we are going to brainstorm and then we'll come back with the new batch plan.
Makes sense. Kapil, Parna.
I'll just appreciate like continuous 14-week. It takes something to be consistent and keep your like when we are taking the pause, we'll evaluating all your feedback, what you are saying and what you need next, and probably we can come with the next session according to that. So let us know. Keep your feedback flowing. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so I'll just like to say that people who've completed the certifications, stay on, keep on learning, do not stop. That's not the end, that's just the beginning, if I have to tell you. That's just level one. You need to keep continuing. So keep connected. Even if we pause, you keep the learning going, give us feedback so we know what to give back to you in the next sessions. And yeah, we are always here. Maybe we might not respond back instantly, but one of us will get back to you either on LinkedIn or Discord. So thank you again for coming back and giving us energy to give back as well.
Yeah,
That's so
and
good to
there's a
hear.
quick question here, Altamash Alam. Can you give me some projects for solution architect level 100? What I'll do is that I'll share the screen, and I know it is off the agenda that we have planned, but let me quickly
This,
answer that
I
question.
like improv as you think. So go ahead, Prasad.
Yeah, before I have to drop in next 10 minutes, I'd like to show this is how you can find all the workshops. There are a lot of labs that are available, but this is the site that I love the most, workshops at AWS. And this has been created by all the technical folks at AWS, whether it is solutions architects and all, different kinds of technical roles. Go to workshops at AWS. Let me put this link here. And you will find like there are more than hundreds of what do you call workshops here, but each of this would be having a level. Level 400 is the most technical, level 100 is just scratching the surface. Now you can think about the kind of topic you would like to. Level 100 would not be technical, so that's why we generally have it at level 200. But if you want to get started, level 200 would be a good starting point. But let's say think about you want to learn something about security, just and so you'll have all the kinds of so, workshops. You can just think about which one you would like to go for. And that's why we say this, because now depending upon where you are in your learning journey, if you're already further ahead, you can go for level 400 sessions, and that would be actually deep dives. If you're intermediate, go for 300. If you're beginner, go for 200. Like for example, ransomware on S3, security event simulation reduction. And each of them also shows you the kind of hour investment you would like to put in. And there are hundreds of what do you call workshops that you can browse through. And if any specific service that you are looking, for example, AI, a lot of people are going into AI ML, right? Let's see if I have AI ML. There should be a better way to write it. Yeah, ML models. There will be a lot of ML related, hopefully, workshops that you would like. Similarly for database, even in database, if you want to go more specific, DynamoDB, for example, then you will have, like for example, this particular is a really good for DynamoDB workshop. It says level 400, but it starts from level 100. And whenever it says level 400, right, don't think that the workshop is going to start from the deepest level of expertise. It will start from basics, and then it will go step by step. So explore DynamoDB with CLI, explore DynamoDB console. It starts with that level, and then it goes up to modeling, game player data, real life application about how you can do it. That's all from me. I'll not take much time, but yeah.
No, that is interesting. Only thing I would add there, that be aware about the cost, because this is what you would be doing it in your account. It is not a sandbox account you are using for workshop. So be aware about the cost. Most workshop have at the end section which says, hey, this is how you should remove all the resources so you do not get charged more. And most workshop also tells you that you may incur $1 for keeping it on for 2 hours or 3 hours or $2. So that will be information there. So just be mindful of that thing. Thanks, Prasad. And now we will move to the next section. So what we wanted to hear from people who are attending BeSA and how it helped and what we could improve or what they liked about it. So I am going to hand it over to Parna, and we would be adding two of the individual who have been very supportive in BeSA journey. It is Sunil and Lakshmi. So let me add Sunil and Lakshmi, and we will go off the stage, and I'll come back again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashish, Prasad, and Kapil. Welcome to our show, Lakshmi and Sunil. It's great to have you on this side of BeSA. Thank you so much that you all have been helping to spread the word about BeSA. You all have been posting about your experience as well. So kudos for that. And they have volunteered to come on our show. So it is a great opportunity for them to talk and present. Like I told you, this in this age and world, presentation skills, speaking skills are very important, and I will congratulate them that they took this opportunity and came and got this, right? So even the rest of you should do that as well. Okay, so first of all, I'll stop talking and I'll let you all introduce yourselves. Maybe Lakshmi, you can go first, then Sunil, you can introduce yourself, give a short introduction.
Okay. Yeah, hello everyone. Myself Lakshmi Janar. I have 8+ years of teaching experience earlier. So right now I am working as a technical consultant for a company. I'm working as a junior trainer. So I joined BESA. Why? So that is the first question I have to tell you people. Actually, for the previous batch also I had joined, but the thing is, due to some of the other commitments, I was not able to continue it properly. So then this time, why I joined means I thought, because I have seen so many sessions and so many lectures. So just it was like they were just going through the slides. So I didn't want that kind of explanation for the concept. So here, what I liked about BeSA is like they started telling about the scenarios. So each and every concept was explained with the scenarios and the role play between two individuals, like what the client wants and what the customer wants, and how the employer or how the company is giving the feedback for that, and what is the solution for that. So those things and all I have liked. And in the previous BeSA batches videos also I have seen, so I liked that behavioral tracks as well, and the company professionals, how they were giving the solutions for each and every problem. So thinking of all those things, I thought, okay, let me join this session for this batch, especially because it was the certification journey. So even I just wanted to finish my SAR certification. So I that actually that only motivated me to join for this session.
Yeah.
So the things what
Congratulations, first of all,
yeah, thank
for
you.
that. So
Thank you,
I'll just
Parna.
let you pause there. I want to ask you,
Okay.
prior to BESA, did you do any other trainings or take up
Yeah.
any other courses? How were
Yeah.
you preparing prior to BESA?
Yeah, actually, first, the best thing what I did is I have registered in the skill builder. So I just gone through all the courses, whatever is available
That's a good
for,
one.
which is
Yeah.
like supporting for STAR certification. Then after that, I started observing the YouTube videos and all. Then I obviously joined for Ashish, that Analog is Cloud, that YouTube channel. Then this BeSA YouTube channel, through LinkedIn I got to know about some posts and all. So through that I joined the BeSA channel.
Okay, so that's great. So maybe Sunil, you can also tell us how has your journey been so far? What were you doing before coming to know about BESA, and after coming to BESA, what has it been like for you?
Yeah, sure. Congratulations, Lakshmi, once again.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
Parna, we are doing just a very small part by contributing our experience here. But BESA team has done a tremendous job. I have no words to say how we can say thank you. So this is a very small contribution from our side. So I came to the this AWS community last October when I joined 12 weeks AWS workshop challenge. So it was
Okay,
12 weeks and concluded on January this year. After that, I got to know about the Cloud Career book. That was great book, and I got a soft copy of it for evaluation purpose. Then I
right.
got so much uh, inspired by you, Parna, and many other people. 16 people were there who have tremendously did their career change from one job profile to another job profile, and even I was looking for the same. So I'm in pure academics, teaching undergraduate students from last one decade, more than one decade. So I
Right.
am looking to make myself global exposure where I can utilize my potential higher and globally, not only a particular region of India or like that.
So how
So,
has this helped you, Sunil? So I know that you also have a YouTube channel, if I'm
right.
not wrong, right? And
Yes.
Sunil is also a professor, so he's also in training. So how has this been different for you? I mean, how is the mode of training of BESA being different from any other? Because there are lots of resources on the web, right? There's a lot of training programs. How is this different, and how has it helped both of you? Maybe even Lakshmi can tell us about it after Sunil.
Yeah, so I got to know about BESA YouTube channel February 2024 because the next session was starting in April, last of April. I'm remembering. So I just watching some videos and like that. I thought that it is just another YouTube channel, but
Right.
when I attended 5 6 sessions here and interacted with you people from chat and other platforms, and the as Lakshmi said about role playing fashion, that is very
Hmm.
unique one. So I like that part a lot. And second part is analogies. What the analogies Ashish is preparing and sharing, that was amazing. That is not only
Definitely. He's like the
that is
master of analogies. That's how I learned as well. I
right,
agree.
right. So even I have some doubt, little bit of doubt. I used to post on the chat so that I will get a good analogies back from Ashish. So
That's
that was
good.
a very nice experience. And then behavioral track. Most of the time we ignore that part and we suffer for a longer period of time.
True.
So the uniqueness of this program is technical as well as behavioral. Along with that, connecting, networking with global audience. I got my study buddy here from outside of India. So that
Power of
I
networking, right?
the
You
power of networking. So I got a lot of things from BeSA, and in upcoming sessions also I will attend all of them. And if I will get a chance to contribute by anyhow, I will ready for that one. Yeah.
amazing, great. Thank you so much, Sunil. So, what about you, Lakshmi? What do you think
Yeah,
has stood
yeah, I
out for
want.
you?
Okay,
And
I
how?
just
And I'll probably ask you what next. I mean, using these learnings, what would both of you like to do next with this?
No, my I have some views in my upcoming journey is like I just want to transfer my career like you actually. So Parna, I can really tell that you are the inspiration actually because I read Cloud Career Journey. That is the giveaway what I got in the third week. So through that I started reading all the 16 individuals journeys, and I even like sometimes I'll get inspired also. So the things is like how to transfer our career. So from non-IT is like, actually I'm also from computer science background only, but my work
Right.
area was into academics. So obviously it will be considered as non-IT only. So from
Okay.
non-IT to IT, how to switch. So that I'm just in that way. Actually, I'm just searching a way to enter to the IT for a properly project handling and all. Because right now I'm
Okay.
into IT only, but not in the project way. I am just inside the what is the training part. So right
Got
now,
it.
because I had prior experience as teacher, so that's the reason they have given me as a trainer role only. So for a IT role, what like how to transfer my career, so that I have to like look into it. And one more thing, I just wanted to add one more point about the why I liked BeSA as well, because in other courses just like Udemy, because for my certification I have obviously purchased some of the Udemy courses of Stephanie Mark and the digital
Hmm.
cloud training and all. So some of the hands-on even we will not get there also, just like network observability and all, because like
Hmm.
once Ashish had asked like which
The
week was
demos,
your
yeah.
favorite. Yeah, so like all the weeks are favorite only, but out of that in eighth week Ashish had showed that the network observability, that is the demo. So which we will not get in any of the trainers Udemy courses
True.
and all. So through that we started learning more. So that is one of the main reason to like about BeSA. And another reason is like you people have shown in week 10th about the mock interview, how the interview will be there, the
Yeah.
role play
That's what I
between,
was going to ask you.
yeah,
Has the
Prasad,
behavioral part also added
yeah,
to both
yeah,
of you? Have you all evolved, do
seriously,
you feel,
yes.
because of that?
Yeah. So because like we don't know like a big like a being in a like working in a non-IT sector, and if we want to move to the IT sector, obviously all the interviewers will be like evaluating us like how they can handle, because even though they
True.
have experience, it is of no use they feel. But we have to upskill ourselves, no, in all the ways. So like this, like we started learning, and sometimes the couple have given some sample questions, and like how the discussion
Right.
will be going on with all these kind of questions. And even Remy has created the quiz for the cloud practitioner track. That was also very good, because cloud practitioner I have cleared, but with that quiz I used to like recall all the services.
Definitely.
So
So
that
that
is,
learning never ends, right? You have to
yes,
keep testing yourself. So that's a good way of
yeah.
learning.
Yes, and in between, like in the YouTube live session, like you and Richard and Nicole, everybody, like in sometimes even I will also like answer to the people's questions. So through that, we will get to know about the questions also, because all of a sudden we will not get all those questions. If somebody is
True.
asking the questions, if we know the answer, we will be replying to them. And if we don't know what we are going to do, we are going to at least check the documentation. So through that
Right.
we started like reading more with respect to the each and every service. So that is
Okay.
also one of
So you
the
were
good.
encouraged to explore and research on your own, I guess
Yes,
I would say, in short.
yes. And one
Great.
more thing is
Great.
Prasad's behavioral track. Sometimes he will give so
Yeah, it's
many nice
amazing.
things. And in LinkedIn he'll be sharing about the
His posts are
workshop.
really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, workshops and how to crack the interviews also. Those tips I really like from Prasad. So those are all like it is motivating me to continue my journey with respect to AWS.
Great. So amazing work, both of you. And I see Sunil also attending a lot of meetups. We keep seeing posts from you. So great going, both of you. So before we wrap this up, it was wonderful talking to both of you. Any tips you would like to share with the members which worked for both of you, because you all are quite active? Any tips you would like to give?
Okay. Sunil, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
sure. So one thing I would like to share that go through previous batches videos also. They are
Absolutely.
amazing. Like I liked one Simran Jindal from IBM
Yes.
and some other folks were there. They are amazing talk were there. So it is BeSA 5 batch was amazing, and you can refer the all the previous recording video. They are amazing. So I like that part. So this one I could suggest people, and other that whatever you are learning, even if it is very small, just share it with on LinkedIn or some post or video.
Right.
And last and not the least, network with people, connect with people genuinely, support them, take ask their help, and it is going to be a longer period of time to help you, not
Right.
a shortcut or a very short period of time.
Yeah,
So
it's
please,
unbelievable. You feel that people will not help, but there are a lot of people who will
right,
genuinely help you. But you
right,
have to be genuine yourself. Don't just go and say, "Give me a job." So,
exactly.
so genuinely connect, and it's definitely going to give back. And yes, Lakshmi, any last tips from
Yeah,
you?
I just want to add 2 to 3 points with this. Whoever is giving certification and whoever is like going through the AWS concept at the initial stage, you people might, even I felt that. So whenever you listen to a video or whenever you read a blog or whenever you read a documentation and all, you might feel that after 1 or 2 days you might forget about it. So in that case, what is my suggestion is, whatever you hear or whatever you listen, whatever you read, at least 2 to 3 times. That is my way of learning the things. 2 to 3 times, minimum 3 times I used to read, and whichever point I am forgetting, I used to write it in a notebook. Then later I used to revise that before going to the next topic. So like that, that is one of the thing. And the second point is hands-on is must in my case, I felt, because based upon hands-on you will get the knowledge about how each service is behaving it with other service, like the interaction.
Exactly.
So all those things you can like learn with the hands on. So easily you can clear some of the questions, you can answer some of the questions with the hands on experiments. And the third one is like the analog is cloud YouTube channel, that 1 minute
Hmm.
Q&A answers, in even in that
That's really great. Yeah.
also like
Kudos
so
to
much.
Ashish for that. Yeah.
Seriously, like some of the questions, even I was also not knowing the answers. With that Q&A, like I am also learning more. So
So
if
he's
you get
watching the chat. Huh? So your questions, if we are not answering, he is going to come back with a 1 minute video.
so whatever the question and answers you are listening, so you just try to remember those. So that is one of the thing. And the fourth thing is, don't depend upon dumps. And the fifth thing is like whatever practice questions you are practicing. So just like if you are buying a Udemy course of Stefan and Marx or some other authors, don't give the exam until and unless you cross 95% in each practice test. That is my advice. Then only you will get more confidence. So don't give the exam until you are confident. So that is the
Raise
Exactly.
the
last
bar.
point I just wanted to give
Set
you.
the bar. I agree.
Yeah.
Lakshmi,
Yeah.
you said
Thank you so much.
the bar too high, 95%.
95 was too high, no, Lakshmi.
That's the reason I
Lakshmi
took
is
one
like a
year,
topper.
complete 1 year I took for like giving the exam.
Yeah, so it's not a race, it's a marathon. You have to
Yeah.
last till the end, right? So thank you so much, Lakshmi and Sunil. It was wonderful having you here, and we would love to be connected to
And
you
one more
rest
point
of
I
the
want to
journey.
add.
Yeah.
One more point I want to add. And whatever the resources they have shared after each week's BESA session, that
Hmm.
was really helpful.
Go
Okay, so
back and
whoever is
click.
preparing, just go back and revisit the resources, so you will just get to know about each and every service thoroughly. So that is one more point I just wanted to add. Yeah,
Great.
thanks
Yeah,
Excellent.
Ashish,
one
thanks Parna, thanks everyone for guiding us through this journey, and hope to see you soon in another next batch. So I'll be registering for that as well.
Thank you so much.
yes, thank you
Thank you.
very much, Ashish, Parna, and whole BESA team. I am too much grateful for this platform. This year 2024 is going very well for the learning and sharing with me. I'm getting a lot of things, technical as well as behavioral. Thank you.
So
Great.
great to
Thank
hear
you.
that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lakshmi. Thanks, Sunil, and
Yeah. Thank
appreciate your
you.
support for us. And hopefully, we would continue on doing great community service. And we would need input from all of you. So anyone who you feel I have a great idea or I have a small idea, we would be happy to work on that. That's the culture in Amazon. If you look at AWS services, 95% of the feature and services are driven by customer demand. Same with us. We are obsessed with the feedback you provide to us. We want to experiment the ideas you give to us. So feel free to share that in any shape or form. You don't want to put it into public, send it to us directly, but let the feedback be flowing so that we can understand how we can serve you better. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Lakshmi. Thanks, Sunil. And I will add now, thanks, Parna. I'll add Kapil and we will continue with the well architected track. Let's continue and let's discuss about the well architected. Kapil, you there?
Yep. I,
Great. Thank
it
you.
was nice to hear
Agree on
both of
that.
them. Yeah.
Agree. It's completely agree. And this role play was Shariq's idea initially. We worked on that. We did a mock session and felt it is going well. So that's how we started. He's not here today. He's busy with some personal stuff, but he has been the instrumental thing into adding this idea of a session which is interactive. Let's continue. And we already talked about the well architected framework. Hopefully, people joined last time and understood basic concepts. Just to keep on moving forward, we had this architecture which asked from a customer who moved on to cloud. Now they want to make it well architected. Will this work? Yes, it will work. But is this well architected? Answer is no. We understood, Kapil helped us in understanding what is well architected framework, how it looks like, what are the components in that. We discussed about the 6 pillars associated with it, and then we had this operational excellence discussed last time, and then we had security discussed last time. Let's go ahead and now start talking about reliability, important pillar on anything you create. Nobody likes an application which is unreliable, right? Even people, if you are unreliable, you can't depend on them, you won't continue your interaction with them for very long. Same thing here, reliability is an important pillar for anything we do. Let's continue and discuss how reliability plays a picture. Good.
Thank you, Ashish. We can start discussing on the reliability pillar. Uh, as you mentioned that I'm reading a lot of white papers nowadays for exactly on the reliability part. I think I have read like ton of things, but one thing that I stood out very much and I wanted to share with this group is chaos engineering paper from the Netflix. I think you all should have a take a look of that how Netflix do the chaos engineering, and that is directly related with the reliability pillar. So take your time. I'll send the link in some time, and please go through that. So let's continue our the discussion on the reliability pillar. So let's understand what
Kapil,
reliability
can I
means.
ask a question? How
Sure.
you define reliability in an architecture? What is your definition of reliability?
Yeah. So reliability, that's I wanted to go to. Reliability is like exactly the term English reliability means. So whatever it's promised, it is delivering on it, and it is delivering on the like brief period of time. So anything, for example, if I'll talk in technical terms, take the example of Google search. I've never seen that I have run some query or like search anything and I didn't get a response. On the other hand, nowadays with the chat GPT, if you see, that is not reliable. I'm not saying that was bad design, but maybe they are not ready for the kind of workload that they are expecting, or there is a different kind of a mindset they are having, different business model they have. But when you see the reliability, take the Google search and chat GPT, you will understood that what is reliable and what is not reliable as of now. I'm talking about not paid version. Maybe paid version is much better. That's why I'm talking about their working model may be different. So that's basically the reliability mean. And so if so, it promised something, it delivering on it, and it delivering for the brief period of time, but it's not happens always. There is some deception. Something will happen always, like due to internal reasons, external reasons, or whatsoever. But the service that you are designing, it should be in a position to recover from that failure. That's my mental model when I talk about the reliability.
Makes sense.
Anything that you want to add?
Yeah, means that's the thing. Can you depend on it? Consider like you
Yeah.
have a healthcare system. Now you are having a patient in operations table and you cannot find the record associated with him or her. Doesn't work like that. It's a life threatening situation. So can you depend on that system for the thing you wanted to expect? You want to book a flight, system is not working. You want to onboard a passenger, it's not working. So we don't want that. We want a result to be given when it is expected, or we can think of whatever SLA we promised to our customer, are we fulfilling those SLA, service level agreements, or not? So that I would consider as a reliability. Make sense?
Yeah. So let's move forward. Once we understood the reliability as a concept, let's take that. What are the design principles that we should be like keeping in mind while designing for the reliability? So if we touch upon, it should automatically recover from the failures. How will you ensure that it's recovering what happens? So what you will do is you will be monitoring the workload, your workload against the KPIs. And that KPIs is not necessarily needs to be technical. It's need to be a business KPIs like number of items delivered, number of ticket books, those kind of things. And if that threshold is breached, you probably setting up alerts, and on those alerts you are taking the appropriate automated action to resolve those things. And the like larger goal should be these things should be happening automatically and you are not taking any manual intervention in those. So your system goes down, your ticket processing system got break, then automatically alert is coming up, and there is another service that is taking care and taking the place of the ticket booking service, and operations gets resumed automatically. So that's the ideal thing. So make sure that you are monitoring the KPIs, you are setting up alert, you are taking the action on that, and you are regularly kind of keeping eye or monitoring and doing the regular check and balances. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Anything that you want to add in this, Ashish?
No, that's fine. Means it's a activeness, actively monitoring your system. You can't be like just saying, thinking everything will work always as expected. No, things never work as expected all the time. So we need to be vigilant in monitoring these systems.
My previous lead used to say, like, if you are doing hope, do in the church. And if so in the IT, you just don't trust the procedures. You should be testing end-to-end things. And what we do in the traditional environment, we generally test that it is working or not. We often do not test recovery procedures. So like it works, or like you think it works, or do you know it works? So for that you need to test your disaster recovery processes. You need to the things that I just posted, like chaos monkey thing, you need to master when something breaks up, how your system recovers from the failure. And you need to do end to end, all the services, everything. I'll slightly touch base on the third point where we talk about horizontal scalability. So you do not need to design a system where you have a big server. You try to have small servers that can kind of isolate the fault if something happens and doesn't impact other servers. And if needed, then you can scale it. And if needed, then you can shrink the servers as well. So that's basically you need to think when you are designing for the reliability. And again, so it's all about applying these principles in the practice also. And also another thing that comes naturally, not naturally, because you come from the on-premise environment, and you don't think that you can monitor the different metrics and you understand what are the capacity that you will be needing. And also you can forecast. There is a number of things that comes in a cloud nowadays that they can understand your workload and give you the kind of forecast that what the capacity you will be needing down the line. So try to utilize that the capacity, and try to design in a system that, for example, if you have a capacity for n, then you try to design the capacity for n by 2, have a room to grow, not landing up yourself in the resource crunch where you need to scale and you don't have the capacity. That is unlikely to happen, but you should be ready. It will not happen in a way that you don't have the server to spin up. In the cloud you can do that, but there is a service limits for associated with each services. So you know that what is the upper limit of the services and how you can design around that.
Makes sense.
And mostly reliability, if you look at that, how your system got broke is first thing that you are implementing some change. There is a new capacity increase. You are rolling out new services. So think about that. How can you minimize that? So one thing that I think most of the company nowadays do, they do hands-off production releases. So they don't want to touch the keyboard at all. They do everything with automation, fully automation. They are not doing any manual work on that. So that's something you need to practice. So that's basically, these are the 5 design principles that you need to adhere where you are thinking about long-term reliability of your services. What do you want to
Agree
add,
on that.
Ashish?
Yeah, means see, any manual work if you're planning to do, that is going to fail. People go through different mood, people have different way of working. Manual work is never 100% consistent. So best would be to manage things in automated fashion. And when let's say something breaks, then you are in a hurry to recover something manually, and there are higher chances you would be making a mistake. But if you are doing that through automation, maybe a Terraform, maybe CloudFormation script, maybe a Python code, probably it would be always delivering the consistent result to you. So consistency is the key. Make sure that whatever you are changing and you are doing changes into a automated manner. Just to give an example, when AWS comes up with new feature, so we have a box mentality. What we mean by that, so whenever a new feature is happening, let's go ahead and first deploy that feature into one of the data center. Just give an example how sometime AWS rolls out service. Okay, it works out perfectly into one data center. Let's roll out that change into an availability zone. This is I'm talking about when the testing is happening for our services. Okay, it worked out well into a availability zone. Let's see how we can roll out this whole thing into a region and see if it works fine or not. If it works out into one region, let's go ahead and do it into multi-region. So this is how gradually things are being implemented, rather than let's make changes in a whole region and then something break. That is complicated. So make changes in automation. One time you tested your script for one location, maybe work well second, third and fourth. So that would be much easier for you to move forward. So always try to automate as much as you can. And now with so many low code and no code solutions available, you do not need to be a top notch programmer to create these changes. You can find existing script. You can use tools like Amazon Q. You can use Code Whisperer, who could give you details about how you want to implement these changes into automation. So practice with small and then go for bigger changes if the need be. Don't implement all changes at one time. That is again a problem. Like sometimes I have seen customers have a release cycle of 6 months. Every 6 months they release a feature into product. Fine. They have now 300 feature waiting to be released in the 6 month. Now one of the feature failed, and because of that all 599 are also halted or stopped. That doesn't work well. So release often, test often, and that would give you more reliability, and that will be giving you more confidence in your own process and procedure. So go for that. That's all, Kapil. Let's move forward now.
I wanted to add quickly one thing. So more often when you see something happens and that person did a change, or something happens and that person did XYZ things, it means you are in a wrong environment. You should be never, like, it's not a people mistake. When Ashish was talking about it's not people problem. So idea is, if something fails, make sure that you are setting up the right process around that so that it doesn't happen next time. Yeah. So we'll go
Agree.
into implementing these principles into the best practices. So first thing that's laid out here is the foundation. When we talk about the foundation, think about how you are going to design the services. Like, think about the shared responsibility model. What are you responsible? What are the things that AWS responsible? When you are choosing the services, make sure that you are understanding this, like, pros and cons of each services. You understand how you are going to manage the quotas. One of the example is just to think that how many account you can create in AWS, how many users or accounts you can create in AWS account. And also, what is, like, if you are choosing, just for example, if you are choosing the Lambda function, what is the concurrency that is possible, how many read and write that Lambda can perform. So maybe you don't have to take care of the in terms of the resources, but when you are designing the services, foundation need to set up. You need to make sure you are choosing the right tool, and you are designing the right interaction between them. You understand their pros and cons. You understand their kind of service quotas. Then you are feeling confident. So those are the things that comes into the foundation part when you are choosing the services and designing the agreement between them. Another thing, for example, if you are choosing any designing any service and that needs to run more than 15 minutes, then you really need to know that Lambda is not ideal candidate for that. So those kind of discussion you will be having while you are designing the foundation. Another is like, if we move, and also when you are in the foundation part also, just to give you the example, where nowadays there is a hybrid environment. You have multi-cloud, you have on-premise and the AWS cloud or any other cloud. So you need to make sure how those components going to talk. Is the like connection between them is reliable? The things that you are expecting is going to happen. It's not about setting up VPN connection because it works. No, maybe you need to have the dedicated bandwidth, and for that you cannot tolerate and you need to have direct connect. But what if you don't have that much time? So these kind of discussion you wanted to have in your foundation environment when you are setting up the foundation for the reliability. Ashish, you want to add few things in this?
Yeah, means solution architecting is always a trade-off. You always decide, hey, this is a QA environment. Do I need that type of reliability? If yes, their cost would go up. If not, cost can remain low. I want to have best performance. That means I need to add more resources. My cost will go up. So what I'm trying to say here is that not every decision is right or wrong. It depends on the context. So in some context, I would be more focused on cost saving if it is my QA environment. In some places like production, I would be more focused on the performance and reliability, and I would add more reliable component or maybe highly available component in that. So as an architect, you have to always do a trade-off. You can't have everything. It's impossible, right? If you want to have high reliable architecture, highly performant and on less cost, probably that would be a challenge. So as an architect, think of what is the business goal you are trying to serve. Is it a production environment? Do I need reliability? Do I need that much of reliability? Like, how many spare wheel you keep in your car? One spare wheel, right? Why? Because we are expecting that is the most probable scenario in a city environment where one wheel will fail and we would have a replacement available for that. But it doesn't mean that it would always be one wheel who would be failing. What if the whole car fails? So again, you cannot have a spare car in every home. It will be very costly. Depends. So depends on what you are trying to achieve as a business and how you can make a trade-off between different pillars which are available. So this pillars always gives you option to perform a trade-off. So be aware about those factors. Good.
When we
How
talk
we
about
implement
work,
these services?
yeah, so that comes to do workload architecture. So now I'm thinking out loud. So if there is, I think Ashish, you move to slides. So can
Oh,
you?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So workload architecture. So when you are like setting up the foundation, you are going to design the architecture around this. So you really need to design the architecture for your workload. What kind of services you are going to have. Try to avoid point-to-point connection. Try to like having the API gateway type of connection just to start with. Or also like how you think about that you are going to have a monolithic microservices or so architecture. Try to have distributed architecture that has less probability to fail, and then work backwards to design each component for the failure. So that's basically when you talk about think about how you came to decide to have either like asynchronous architecture or synchronous architecture. How you insert a queue, how you avoid like point to point, server to server communication. So those kind of things you will be thinking while you are designing the workload architecture. Any
Makes
question
sense.
or
And
anything that you want to add, Ashish, in this?
yeah, means, and again, don't think that everything is solvable by microservices. So, right, if you have heard about microservice, it doesn't mean I have to just create a small system and I am going with all the complexity of designing microservices. So, it's not like all services in the same manner would work for a project one and will work for project two. So make sure you are using the right solution rather than what you think would be the right solution. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to figure out what are the business requirement and work around them, not like your technical skills or technical solution now fitting the business requirement. No, your business requirement should fit in within the solution you are designing.
And again, so while Ashish was talking, I was thinking that how you reach to that decision that okay, I'm taking the right decisions for my workload. I am designing the right solution. So again, go back to the white papers, like take some references, how the microservices need to be designed, what are the SOA architecture, how somebody has designed their ML model or complete HPC. So those kind of things, if you look for your domain, if you look for the use cases, there is already some documentation, some guide, and you just don't need to implement directly. You need to inference all the knowledge from there and take the informed decision. On the top of that, you need to consult with your enterprise architect or whosoever the lead is and try to understand the pros and cons and then take the decisions. So referring to the AWS reference architecture and white papers is I think no brainer in this case, because when you are a doubt, white papers is the best resource that you can go to.
Agree, and it's not easy to read them, to be honest, but yeah, these are worth reading it, and there are a lot of reference architectures available. I don't think that you may be the first person in your industry who is doing the solution for your company. Maybe there are already solution existing. So why can't I lean on that? Check reference architecture. You will understand there are domain specific architecture, there are business industry specific architecture, and just search for reference architecture. You should be able to get a lot of information around it. Good. Let's move forward.
One thing that I want to quickly add, even if you are not designing the new services, just try to, in your domain you are working, just try to look at the reference architecture, see that why they have done it, and challenge that. Okay, if you have used the network load balancer, I want to use application load balancer, and how can I do that? And those kind of things, pros and cons, you need to understand, and that's why you are building your mental model. And it's all about challenging the design decision that you have made. And like something that has been designed 2 years back, you can challenge today. It doesn't matter whosoever has designed that. So if we move to the change management, so like again, it's basically it's a primary region that you can have your reliability break, so that make sure that you are putting up right procedure around your change management to monitor those changes and make sure you have enough testing done to address those things. And a couple of things that you want to couple with, like one of the example is blue-green deployment. So try to have the kind of blue-green deployment so you can easily roll back your changes. Try to have the auto scaling setup and those things. So very basic thing while you are doing the change management, it's a big topic, but try to adhere and try to release as small as possible and have the possibility to roll back, have the change management process established, and make sure that every release is going through CI/CD pipeline verification and everything before it happens in the production. Anything that you want to add, Ashish, in the change management?
Yeah, I want to ask a question to audience. Anyone who knows which service we can use in AWS for performing change management? Anyone heard about a service or used a service in AWS for change management? Let me know in the chat what you have heard about for change management. Which service gives you a method of introducing a change, going through approval, and then once approval is done, then only that change is pushed to your pipeline or to your resources. Anyone heard about a change management service? Config no Feroz. Config is auditing and compliance service, but it is not for change management. It can detect change, but it cannot go through approval process. Cloud deploy, nope. Cloud deploy, no, not like that. Probably a very common service, but it is just a feature in that AWS Systems Manager. Exactly, Elizabeth. So yes, AWS Systems Manager is having an ability in that which is called change management ability, and through that you could go ahead and create these type of solutions. So change management can happen within Systems Manager. There is a change manager that has approval method through which you can go forward. So check that feature too. Right, good. Last point here on the best practices.
Yeah, failure management. So failure management, stop thinking that you can do something now. It happened already. Now it's about how to recover from this. So think out loud that, yeah, everything should be done as soon as possible, but what the RTO and RPO you have set up for your services, and the person involved, do they really know that what the RPO and RTO has set up for this service? So maybe you will find opportunity to educate the team then and there. So think about what is the RTO and RPO has set up. Try to run this through a kind of playbook or some process, and make sure that you have designed your system accordingly, that you are recovering from the read replicas, you are failing over to another region, how you are doing it. So that's up to your kind of RTO and RPO that you have decided. According to that, you will be doing that. Try to, once it happens, try to minimize the impact. And like maybe you have already uh, kind of pilot running environment where you are filling up, or you have to do the complete kind of backup and restore. So all those things should align with your RTO and RPO. That's what you can do once the failure happened.
Makes sense. Thank you. And if I go to the services which can be used, again, it is a partial list. It is not the full list of all the services, but the common services you could use. Route 53 has health check, and through that you can identify failed resources and redirect your traffic. CloudFront can help you with the caching and the redirection. Auto scaling is obviously a new feature, is a feature you would use for your reliability. And global accelerator, where you can have a multi-region deployment and give your user a reliable experience to your application. So these are just some of the common services in AWS which you could use for implementing reliability, right?
Yeah.
Good. Now let's talk about the same architecture. Now if you see here, what we have done, we have added more component in our application architecture. Initially we had only a web server, and there was a database which was running on an EC2. That was not the best reliable architecture, so we added auto scaling group, so we can now tolerate any individual instance failure, or we can tolerate any availability zone failure. We added additional layer of protection and put a managed service into front, and that managed service is ensuring that I do not have to worry about its failure. That is AWS responsibility. We added our database into a primary and a standby fashion, so that will ensure that we are able to recover from failure if it happens. So that's how it can work. So that is how application architecture would evolve. Another important aspect of well architected is cost optimization. Nobody would ever come to you and say, hey Ashish and Kapil, you created great application and can you increase its cost by 10%? Obviously, every time we will hear, can you reduce the cost? So cost optimization is an ongoing process. Let's see how we can incorporate cost optimization. Everyone wants to save money, and in current economical situation, it is more important. Let's go ahead and talk about cost optimization now.
One thing that I wanted to mention here, I think it's a no-brainer, and most of the people do understand. But if you are not in there yet, that you need to think IT on particular organization is liability. So like the organization is, their core business is different. So if you are somehow like designing a very like a good solution and it's costing so much that they cannot afford it, then probably they don't need it. So you are designing the services for that core business, not otherwise. And you will be hearing this more often going forward. But make sure you are treating IT as a liability. You are making sure that you are keeping your cost bare minimum, so that you can innovate on the other things. You can basically use that cost to build something else rather than spending too much on certain things. And when it comes to cloud, I think my mental model is start from the back end. Like I always start from the cost. Everything is possible, but how much is going to cost? Is my return of investment on this is going to benefit me or not? Otherwise, there is no point of designing that. That's why there is a lot of services nowadays that is a managed service. So we will go into that. Let's not carry it away. So basically, yeah, there is a no-brainer. We understand that why the cost is important. And then first thing comes, that is implement cloud financial management. So it is not traditional coming up, right? This was not a concept in on-premise at all. So you need to have a team, dedicated team, that is responsible for understanding the cost and setting up the process around it. So basically, just set up a team that is taking care of your cloud cost. Then another thing that basically I want to touch base is you need to build the knowledge on that, having the resources and processes in place, and make sure that your team is equipped enough to take the decision and understand the pros and cons of the decision that we are making. If we move further, then one thing that like I kind of used as a thumb rule, I'll not say like always it works, but try to go in with the consumption model. Pay for only that you are using, and try to have more and more managed services. And again, the concept of iceberg. Maybe you see the it cost wise is going up, but you are not calculating the cost of managing the people operational overhead of running those services. So think about that perspective. And if you like very sure that this is a longer time use, then you need to think of that how can you minimize the cost. Having the reserve instances is the one of the example, but keep the consumption model in mind, that how you are going to consume, and then only according to that you need to have your resources and services to And I think one other thing that is keep coming back is measure overall efficiency. So if there is a saying like, if you cannot see it, you cannot secure it. I'll see like, if you cannot see it, you cannot do anything with it. So first, monitor it, measure it, and then try to optimize it. So for example, if you are running a EC2 instance for a certain period of time, you understood that, okay, this is my pattern, this is how I'm accessing, and maybe my development environment, like I'm very sophisticated, or my employees don't work after 8 hours, then probably shut down your development environment for those other hours. So try to find the opportunity and maybe like create a game day around, involve your engineers to see and optimize the cost and reduce it. And that is like you have all the data in place in the CloudWatch or S3 bucket, or you have all the logs, try to analyze and see that what you can do this best. Also, stop spending the time on and money on the heavy lifting things, database migration and any other things where you need to you're setting up your availability zones or data racks, anything. Those kind of things is you leave it to do experts now, or you leave it to some cloud providers, and you don't have to spend that much time, and start focusing on your business values rather than your IT resources.
Yeah, means I want to add here that consider, let's say you are business A and you have another competition which is business B. Both of you perform backup of your system, no brainer, everyone has to do. Both of you have to be compliant. C has to be compliant also. So if you are just fulfilling these activity, you are not differentiating you from the other competition. But you start offering better customer support, better feature innovation, better of the customer response time. That differentiates your business, and that's why ensure that you are focusing on what your core expertise are. If you're a software development company, focus on that. Infrastructure management may not be your expertise. You are an education institute, focus on delivering the best performance to your customer, not on maintaining and patching the server. So make sure you consciously identify what differentiate your business from other and focus on those rather than mundane IT tasks on a day-to-day basis. Last one, Kapil, analyze and attribute expenditure. Can you explain it?
Yeah, it's basically earlier in the on-premise environment, it was not very clear that how much particular organization or particular group of particular what you call domain of your organization is costing you. What you can do, you can tag the resources to the particular group and try to see that how much revenue they are generating and how much expenditure they have. So basically you can calculate the return of investment for that particular group. That's what I mean by attributed expenditure.
Exactly. So yeah, let me go ahead with some of the best practices and then we will see some examples around it. So practice cloud financial management. If you have not heard about CFM, it's a very common activity where we are ensuring that we are managing our cloud finance properly. We need to understand how the money is being spent, how we can optimize it, how we can work with finance teams. So CFM is a very common practice which most companies follow. And this is a interesting field from career perspective too. If some of you are coming from finance background and looking for a role in cloud, maybe you have to explore CFM 2, where you can use your finance skills as well as your technical skill and help companies in becoming more cost efficient. So make sure you practice cloud financial management.
Rightly.
Next thing, maintain
Yeah.
expenditure and
So
usage awareness.
I'll probably go to the previous point. One thing that I quickly want to add. I have like very good concept of DevOps, that is people over process over tooling. So first find the right set of people who is responsible for doing that. Then set about the process, give them a right tool. For example, the cloud watch alarms are basically the cloud. Sorry, I'm saying cloud watch alarm. Give them budget and other cost explorer to understand that how to see the cost and forecast the cost in the AWS environment. So just finding the right people, tooling, and the processes, and you are done with this. Then it's about the maintaining the expenditure and the usage awareness. So you need to set up the governance. Have you seen or came across a situation where you want to spin up a server, like yourself, go into the AWS cloud environment and spin up a server, and you say like, okay, you cannot spin up these kind of servers. So that's where the governance take into the place. So if you are doing something experimentation, yeah, we are allowing that, do it, but you should be not heavy compute resources and large compute resources you are spinning for that. Probably you want to have a micro and nitro instances for that. So those kind of things you need to set up in your environment, and we create a cost awareness culture around the team, so that where they are doing something, they think about the cost, and you are setting up right procedure so that somebody who don't need to spin up other machine learning environment, they don't need to do it. So those kind of things you need to do that.
Makes sense. And any resource you are creating should be cost effective. Identify, do you need that big instance? Can you use a container on Fargate instead of that? Can you use a Lambda function instead of that? Can you move your data to a S3 tier for keeping it on a longer period on paying less money? So this is cost effective resource which you should be thinking of. And the good part in cloud is there are so many options available. So choose what serves your needs specifically. Good. What do you mean
That's
by
where
manage
coming,
demand and supply? Okay, sorry, go ahead
yeah.
for cost effective.
Cost effective, like that's where the culture of experimentation comes. Run your
Exactly.
workload in the AWS Lambda, run your workload in container, and see that which one is costing low, and challenge those who have designed the architecture, and give them the data that this is you need to run going forward when it comes to reducing the cost. And also like managing, you rightly touched base, managing the demand and supply of the resources. So think about, for example, if you are expecting some changes like a peak in traffic, then you are using the auto scaling and other things to keep up for those. That's what we mean by keeping up the demand and supply resources. And also like you may not to do with this, there is a different and kind of different kind of methods that you can do. You can do the demand based, or there is every morning 9 a.m. there is a huge traffic and people log into the server, then you can do the time based, and you can have a dynamic according to the your usage. Something is monitoring the patterns, and according to that you are upscaling and downscaling your system according to that.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Optimize your
optimize over
time.
time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So basically, like it's again, try to see, monitor your logs, do the analysis, and see that what you can optimize. Optimization over time is also mean like your traffic pattern will not be the same all the time. Maybe there is an increase and decrease, and you are trying to adjust. Maybe you started with your 2 GB instance, but after 1 year there is continuous traffic and you are always on the like edge. Then try to adjust the capacity according to that. And also there is a new resources coming up down the line, so that you can utilize that to optimize the cost. So that's basically optimization is continuous process. And I would love to see that what are the different innovative thinking that you can come and do something extraordinary to optimize the cost. And that can be like individual choice how you do it.
Makes sense. And let me just quickly talk a little bit more on that. So implement cloud financial management, CFM as we call it. Now, you cannot work in isolation in IT anymore. Your cloud bill is being generated on every month basis. So you need to ensure that you understand and talk to your business team. You ensure that your developer team is aware and finance team, they've all worked together to create a financial management type of a system. So you would need to interact with more stakeholders now as the cloud is having its presence into multiple domain. So you need to create a team who understand business, who understand how the development procedure works, and who are also aware about the finance implications. So this is something which will be needed. Another thing is adopt a consumption model. Let's say this is my example. So I have my usage going. My usage is variable. I had no usage of resources. Then it picked up. Then it went out and then came down and then again changed and happened like this. Now, in traditional world, this is how you used to provision resource. So I maybe created 60 servers to handle this workload. Fine. But here, even if there is no usage, I am keeping my servers ready always. That is not a good design at all. This is a bad example where I have created resources even if I don't need it, and when I am actually needing it, I do not have efficient resources available for me. So make sure you do not fall into this. This is a bad example of cost and usage. A better example could be like this, where you still have some resources always running. As you could see, you are always paying some cost and you are you're adding more resources and removing them when you do not need it. So this is a better example, but still you have some cost which is always coming up. Like you have a database, it is doing zero transaction, but you still have to keep it running so that you could access data when needed. You cannot start a database when the request come, wait for 10 minutes and deliver the result. So this could be a better example, but the best example could be like this. Maybe I have a serverless database. Maybe I'm using DynamoDB and I only utilize and pay when I actually use it. So that can be some better examples for that. Another example here is for pay for what you use, in the sense, if you have a production and dev environment and you are keeping them available 24 by 365, it is not a good design. You may end up paying, let's say, $17,000 per hour we are calculating. What if I run my test dev environment only 8 hours and 261 days, not on weekend, and you don't have to manually do it, or automated ways available through which you can use it. So you would be saving money in this method. There is a huge saving, no complicated technical design decisions required, but you can still save money. Also measure overall efficiency. Let's see how the cost is compared to investment. Now, here is a CFO asking that looks like our bill has increased by 15%. Do we have a justification for that? Right? Yes, justification is we made changes that increase our orders by 35%. So my revenue increased and that's why my bill has increased. So that is okay. But my revenue has stayed the same and my bill has increased. Now I have to identify why it happened. I'm not saying it is always a wrong thing, but at least I should have a justification that, hey, we are doing experimentation, we had to follow a compliance, we had to set up a DR environment, and that's why our cost has gone up. But you cannot justify the cost going up, then you have to look into why this thing is going wrong direction. Make sure you compare whether you are able to add value or not. So your workload is changing. Is it bringing more revenue? Are you generating value for business or not? That would obviously be required in this particular case. Also, as we talked about, stop spending detail on undifferentiated heavy lifting. Here we can transition to serverless architecture rather than having this architecture always available. What if I go with API gateway and function and Lambda and DynamoDB? I would be able to save a lot of money because of this serverless architecture. Again, serverless is not a silver bullet which can solve every problem, but you still have to give it a thought that how you can go ahead and optimize your resources if the need be. Whatever you are spending, make sure you are aware about it, that if I have an account in which all resources are there, multiple teams are using it, it will be very difficult to identify who is spending how much. What if I go ahead and start performing tags? I associate tags and now I can know how much I am spending on team 1's resources or team 2 or team 3. We are not like shaming someone for using more cloud resources, but we want to identify that who is using what, or is there a business justification for that or not. So maybe team 2 has contributed 35% of the cost resource and team 3 60% of the cost of the total bill. Maybe it makes sense because team 3 generate 75% of the company revenue, but this team generate 5% of revenue and consume 35%. I have to go and check why is it. Maybe it is justification that this is R&D team and that's why they need capacity, they are not revenue generating, but I need to make that connection to understand why cost is higher or lower for a particular team and what revenue they are bringing in for business. At the end, it is all optimized you are requiring for in terms of cost. So make sure key value pairs can be added, and through that we can have better efficiency. Services we could use is cost and usage report, Cost Explorer, AWS Budget, QuickSight, Trusted Advisor. So many services exist who could help you in getting most of your environment. Right, Kapil?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
Just wanted to highlight, if you want to see that how Amazon QuickSight is going to help you, it's basically going to help you visualizing the cost that you have already from the Cost Explorer, whatever you have exported, you can visualize that there.
Good. All right. And then we have performance efficiency as a pillar. Kapil, what is performance? I know performance. What is performance efficiency?
I don't know, like I have a right word to explain, but basically performance efficiency, what I mean by is given a time that what you can do, like for example, you can run 5 kilometers in 10 minutes, then giving the same time, how can you improve that further? Maybe you will try out different things, you will try out different tactics, but how you are going to improve your performance in given that same duration. That's basically the performance efficiency mean. And it comes to like anything, like you are training your mindset, you are doing the exercise, you are warming up very good, or you are try out different sutures. It's just about the finding the ways how can you improve your performance efficiency. So good use of resources, and with the time you are improving on the performance of your services. Is this aligned with your definition, Ashish?
Yeah, exactly. Means that's the same. Like how you can deliver the same result or better result in a better way or in an efficient manner. So maybe I was consuming, let's say, to run this particular service X amount of money. How can I deliver better performance and I keep the cost low also? So that's what we call efficiency, right? In a given short period of resource, how we can deliver more value, that is what efficiency is all about. We talk about time management, time efficiency, cost management, cost efficiency. Exact same thing. We are not going to change the resources we allocated, but how we can deliver more value from those same resources or vice versa. So that's what performance efficiency is. Good.
Yeah, let's see the principles of for operation for performance efficiency. So we have one is democratize the advanced technologies. What that means is basically streamlining advanced technology implementation for your team and delegated the complex task to the other third party or cloud vendor. So basically, if you really need to run any HPC or any new machine learning models, then probably you are not going to set up that, try to host in the AWS and try to run your business objectives and try to run the experiment. So you don't run behind the IT when it comes to use of new technologies. Basically, you are using the third-party services or the cloud services for that.
Don't reinvent the wheel again. If somebody has invented ABCD, go ahead and write an essay or poem. Don't think I have to create new ABCD. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, very, very rightly mentioned here. Then other thing that you need to, when it comes to, and think like these principles associate with what you are trying to do. So think about the performance and then associate with your new tools and technology. Then think about the performance and think about if you go global and you like having the deployment in cross region, then probably that will lower down the latency of your services and give the better experience to end user. For example, like you can use the CloudFormation template to try out and deploy the same thing in different regions, and that can basically help you going global quickly. And of course, like latency will be down. again, another thing that we should be thinking of using the serverless architecture is again removing to need to maintain your physical infrastructure, traditional compute activities, and you are like, and also like take the example how you are using S3 to store your data, and you don't have to maintain anything else other than just taking care of the data. So think about using the serverless architecture when it comes to performance efficiency. And another thing, like experiment more often and try out what works, what don't work, and then like see what are the operation you can run in um, um, Lambda, what you can run in instance base or on the container base. Another thing that you can experiment, I just want to give the real time example. Think about Lambda. Lambda is like measured on the number of memory you provisioned and the how long it has run. So maybe depending on the workload, somebody has decided that we are going with the 10 GB memory, and that is running 5 minutes of your workload. Try out and see that if you can increase the memory by 12, and that lower down your processing time, and how much that is going to cost you overall. So you need to experiment on learning new things and then try to optimize for performance. Yeah,
Completely
this is
makes
my
sense.
favorite one. Consider mechanical sympathy. So you are designing your services for the business. Your business is not for these services. So
Exactly.
always think about what kind of workload you trying to run and how you trying to and plug the services to achieve the things. Example that I can give you, like maybe NoSQL database is fancy and like everyone should be experimenting with that. But what if you don't have that kind of workload? You need consistent and ACID compliance databases. You cannot afford having eventual consistency. Then for like, it doesn't matter like how the NoSQL database, how fancy they are, it has no meaning for you. So you need to design the services according to your according to your workload. That's a nutshell I wanted to convey when it comes to mechanical sympathy.
Yeah. So mechanical sympathy here also means that there would be some limitation you would be hitting for services or for any solution you are building. Let's say I want to go from point A to point B and it is 1,000 kilometers apart. I cannot say I want to be there in 2 minutes. Whatever physical limitation exists will exist. Same way you have, let's say, taking a database and you have a relational database, and now you are saying I want you to handle 10 million transactions per second. It's not designed for it. Whatever you will try, however big the server you will add, it will not be able to scale to 10 million transactions per second because it is not designed for it. So make sure physically it is not possible. Like if you ask me, you have to pass all certification tomorrow, my brain cannot handle it. So that is a mechanical sympathy I need to have with my application too. That will ensure that we would be able to handle as much as we request, or as many requests comes in, or as many of the requirements are there. Is my service able to deliver it or not? So there would be some trade-off. Again, you may have to think about your application. Just to give more examples on that, so if you are building a, let's say, a non-relational system, you could go ahead and do it on your own. Set up system, configure Praxis algorithm, configure your node, and then you can build something like that. Why don't you go ahead and say, no, I don't want this to be built by my own, let me use DynamoDB here, it is much easier for me. Now you may have deployed your application, as Kapil mentioned, into one region, US East, which is happy for US customer, but European customers are not liking it. I could go ahead and say, let me host it across multiple location, and probably I would use CloudFormation to deploy this in much faster fashion rather than manually doing it. So that will be much better for my customers. Then use serverless architecture. We have load balancer, instances are booting up, it will take time to get ready. Obviously there would be some delay in instance launch. Whatever best performance you are looking for, best would be I go ahead with serverless. I don't have to worry about anything to be deployed and created in a high scale environment. That will be all done. Experiment often. Maybe we were running everything on C4, AWS has come up with C6i, which is a much better instance type. Why don't I go ahead with that and get the most out of this particular thing? So experiment more often. Then mechanical sympathy, I already gave you an example that we have lot of resources to be delivered. Somebody's asking, we need to spend less time in taking care of DB, we need infinite scaling. There is limitation on RDS. You need to go for DynamoDB or similar services like that. So that would be required. So implementing these solution, you would use CloudWatch, compute layer, networking, storage, X-ray can give you those type of visibility. So leverage these services if you are trying to make most of your architecture. So now the same architecture, but we added more services on that, like we have secrets manager, we have CloudTrail on that, we are doing things in automated fashion, and that would make me more efficient and optimize on the long run. So that's how we could keep management and automation and monitoring, and we can take care of security also whenever we are thinking about any architecture. The last pillar, and we'll quickly touch upon that, sustainability, and then we will talk to Parna and she would share about the becoming or thinking like a solution architect. So Kapil, what is your take on sustainability? Why it is important as an individual or as a company for me?
Hope I know I'm on mute. So I think it's the last pillar that is introduced in 2021 by AWS. And the simple concept is we need to be more responsible in terms of the energy consumption on the workload that we have, and little more responsible towards the environment. So the basically this pillar is boiled down to focusing on minimizing the environmental impact of running the workloads in the cloud, and the key topics include like share the responsibility model for the sustainability, understanding the impact, maximizing the utilization of the resource required and reduce the downstream impacts. One of the example that I'm able to draw from uh, my experience is I run a service that is consumed by my partners, and its API is free, so they can call as much as they possible. And imagine the services that they are using is 90% error, so unauthorized or throttled, and they don't care, never care about this. So this kind of mental model you should be getting rid of, and try to see that whatever you are calling, you are mindful in your resource utilization and how, and always find the opportunity if you can improve something. So that's basically anything that compute you are using, anything that like database you are using, how much store you really need, how much data you are storing that can be can be tear down. So those are the mental model you need to think, because if you are using the resources, then there is a some energy consumption, and you are like not responsible being a good citizen towards environment.
Yep. Don't generate too many unicorn picture from ChatGPT. It doesn't help. So try to be very reasonable in what you are using compute for. Obviously, you are not paying for it, but somewhere there is an impact happening on that, right? So I was reading an article and people said that we are so much careful when we talk about environment and then don't keep your energy lights on. But when you are generating those unnecessary stuff on these generative AI, nobody takes care of the server behind the scene. It is still a power consumption, isn't it? So be mindful on that. All right. So establish your sustainability goal, and probably this would be an organization initiative, like AWS has or Amazon has an initiative that by this particular year we have to be carbon neutral. So we need to ensure that we have followed that. Make sure you are utilizing it to maximum extent. Whatever you deployed a server and using it 10%. No point. You are wasting money. Your energy utilization is high. What if I can leverage 70% or 80% utilization on that? Anticipate and adopt new efficient hardware and software, like we have more performance efficient instances coming up. Leverage that. Use managed services so that you would have less time into managing these things, and it will be managed by AWS and it would be easy. We already have optimized our processes for sustainability, and reduce the downstream impact of your cloud workload. Make sure that whatever you are building, select the right region to get started, and make sure you are using cloud in a efficient and sustainable manner. Think about the bigger impact your workload may be creating into the whole environmental thing. We don't think about it, but we have to change our perspective and start thinking about it. All right, good. So hopefully that everyone has got little bit
Just
more understanding on these. We have little time crunch here, so I'll just quickly read some best practices. So select region properly. Align to your need, what your demands are. Don't keep unnecessary resources running. Make sure your software and architecture account for sustainability. Make sure you keep your data as long as you want, but keep it into layer like Glacier to keep cost low. Make sure you have follow best practices for hardware and software, and you have to build a process and culture when people start thinking about sustainability as an individual responsibility, not like only to be debated into a G5 summit or any other G7 summit. Make sure you also take care of those things. So process and culture is important thing which you have to build in. Kapil, you want to add something?
That was a tight slap.
Thank you.
No, I just wanted to mention that you need to keep up to date yourself. One of the example that I can give is like not very recent, but it has been some time released of Graviton processor on the Lambda, and that is like at least a 33% increase in terms of the performance when you move away from the ARM-based processors. So these kind of things you need to understand, adhere, and be on the time to quickly adopt in terms of the performance, and also that is goes hand in hand with the sustainability. Be responsible citizen. That's the only motive and the message that I have with the sustainability pillar.
Yeah, exactly. So G5, G7, these are the political groups, Kapil, sorry, Pawan, who are taking care of environmental protection and then those things. So I'm just giving an example that it is not their responsibility only. It is our responsibility as an individual that we use technology in a sustainable manner for our generations to come. So just that wanted to share that. Thank Kapil. It was interesting. And turn off your laptop too at night. I agree. Why not? Why not? And let me add Parna now. Parna, sorry we have already time crunched you, but feel free to use as much time as you want. People are there to listen to you, so feel free. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you so much, Ashish and Kapil. We had some fun in the chat also, seeing the grilling.
Yeah, the grilling part. No, I'm not intentionally grilling it.
It comes naturally.
Exactly. Exactly. All
And
right.
it's
I'll
fair if it's look like grilling because behind the scenes we are prepared, Pawan. Don't worry about it.
yeah, means it's good to have that kind of so we don't want to deliver like a very scripted session to you. We want to keep it as natural as it happens in any conversation. So that's why sometimes we may fumble across, we may not know the answer. It happens. It's a real life. It's not a scripted thing which we are doing here. Thank you. Good. Continue, Parna.
All right. So hello everyone. So welcome back. So I thought that we spoke a lot about technical topics, and I feel that I should talk about a topic where how should one think like a solution architect. Okay, so everybody wants to become a solution architect, and you know that this role is really popular and in demand. But if you go to see, it is an amalgamation of a lot many roles. You're donning a plenty of hats together. So it's not only your technical acumen, I would say. There are many other skills that you need to imbibe in yourself. And why do you have to become a solution architect to think like one? You can start thinking about it right now, right? So hence I'm going to be taking up this topic. So few of the things that you need to think of when you are going to think like a solution architect is you need to have a balance of your obviously your technical skills. You need to have some business acumen skills, communication skills. Talking is a big part of this role. Stakeholder or customer management, like you are talking to so many people, so you're going to be talking right from a developer, you're going to be talking to a developer, to a C-suite person, so you should know how to uh, adapt your conversation accordingly. You will be talking to leadership also. So there will be juniors that you will be mentoring as well, so you need leadership skills. And you made a great design, but that doesn't mean it is flawless, right? So there could be problems. You should be good at problem solving, so you will be pulled in if something fails. Yeah. So we always need someone to blame, so probably you'll be pulled in, so you have to be good at troubleshooting, problem solving. Decision making is also a very important skill over here. Think about it, people are looking to you to make a decision, a design decision, so you have to speak with confidence and you have to earn that trust. It's not that you have to be dominating in that meeting room and say that you have to do it this way, that's it, there's no other way. but you have to be decisive. So in Amazon we have the principle of being right a lot, right? Being right. So you should take decisions with that conviction, and you should show that confidence as well. So it's a mix of a lot of things, and you need to start thinking like one too. Now, for example, nobody will come and actually give you a very large document with all the requirements written down, right? So when I say business acumen, say you have your first meeting, somebody will tell you, so you've gone to meet a client, they'll tell you, we want to build a money lending app for, say, rural customers. That's all. And now you have to start thinking. Okay, so that's when your solution architect thinking starts. Okay, so you'll think, okay, it's a money lending app and they want to target rural customers. So obviously rural customers, if you're thinking about a place like India, they are not sitting with a laptop or a desktop in front of them, so obviously a web application won't do. At max, it will probably be a mobile app. If it is a mobile app, they are not walking around with iPhones, obviously, in rural India, or say in tier 2 and 3 cities. So Android would be a better platform to consider, that's more popular. Then because this is in rural, you'll think that, okay, maybe it has to support multiple languages, so localization, multilingual support. You need to start thinking that, yeah, maybe that needs to be done. These people, they will not spend a lot of time on your mobile app reading instructions, so you need to have a intuitive user interface. Okay, so what am I doing over here? I'm thinking like a solution architect. Nobody from that business requirement that was told to me said all this. This is where you start thinking. Okay, so that is what I mean by having your business acumen, so you can translate the business goals or requirements into technical skills. Okay, then comes the part where okay, you've now got the requirements, now you need to explain your design or your architecture. Now you will be talking to different kind of stakeholders, so there could be a technical person like a CTO or an engineering manager, and there could be other stakeholders who absolutely don't understand technical from the business side. So you should know how to simplify things also, whether it's using whiteboarding or whether it's using presentation skills. Okay, so you have to cater to these type of audience, so both of them are on the same page. Next is, once you come up with a solution, you just don't come up with one solution, you have to come up with multiple options, right? So you don't say, yeah, this is the solution and you do this, right? So I actually skipped a little ahead. Before you come to the solution, I missed the part where, as a solution architect, you need to have a couple of other skills as well. So first, it is going to be to do with listening. So you're just going to be listening to their requirements, right? After then, after you've listened to them, you do not directly jump to advising. Then comes the part about asking questions. Okay, so how Ashish says, it depends when you ask a question, because you need to probe them to find out a lot of things before you can answer. So you will probably ask them what is their existing infrastructure or architecture. Like, they might be not building a totally new application, it would be something like modernization. So you need to know what you are currently working with. Maybe it has dependencies with other applications which it might break, so you need to know about that as well. You would also ask questions like, if it's like a modernization thing, you will ask like, what is your current pain, why do you want to modernize? So you need to ask that, because if you don't understand what is the problem with the existing one, you may not land up solving it in the next one as well. Okay, so you need to ask those pain points. Okay, then what were the limitations and the pain points? I told you what was the limitations and challenges also, so that you can address them in your solution. Next, then you need to ask them. So now you're still in the asking phase. Okay, you have still not reached the solution phase. A very important part is where you have to find out about their budget. Okay, so everybody does not have an overflowing pocket to keep on paying bills, so you have to ask them about their budget constraints. You have to ask them their timelines, okay, their time to market. So there could be solutions which could be really quick, like, serverless is really quick, you quickly experiment and it's really fast. whereas they might want a very resilient, robust solution which could take time. And do they have that kind of time? So timeline is important. What is their expectation? And then finally, what kind of skills do they have? Okay, so you cannot come up with a complicated solution if you realize that they don't even have the technical skills on their team. Okay, what type of resources do they need to be upskilled? Okay, so probably they've never dealt with containerization, Kubernetes, everything is new to them, right? And I've seen like discussions where people say that let's use Kubernetes as if it's like a trending thing. Okay, now I had seen a joke where people are asking for 10 plus years of Kubernetes experience, whereas it is only 10 years. Okay, so there it is yet new. So you might not even have those skills. And if you want to manage a Kubernetes cluster, you know that you need to have a dedicated platform engineering team or a SRE team. Do you have that? If you have a very small team, and it may not really make sense for you. Okay, so you have to ask these questions as well. Okay, so once you have these questions, then you have further questions you need to ask. Now, depending upon what industry your customer or your client is from. Okay, so say it's from financial services or from the health sector, so there are a whole lot of compliances or the standards that you need to follow. So you have to be well versed. Okay, you cannot ask them what is GDPR, what is HIPAA. You cannot ask them that. You should know it yourself, right? So basically you'll be asking them which are the ones that you need to comply with, and you should know about them to accurately advise them thereafter. Okay, so if do they have any auditing requirements, so then you will have to think about all auditing requirements, logging requirements, how long they want to retain their data, etc. If they are handling sensitive data, then comes the part of you have to think about data governance also. If this application is public facing, okay, then the security part becomes even more paramount, right? Is it a public facing application or is it an internal app? So this will happen only if you probe and ask those questions. So asking those questions are very important before you come up with the solution. Then you'll ask the question, is this like a short term fix or is it for long term? Or what are the top priorities? They might give you 10 things, right? We want to add this features, etc. So you would ask priorities. What is the top priority so that you can handle that first, right? So that is also important. Then now, after all these questions are answered, you can also go into the technical part, right? So certain customers will have preference, so they'll have preference for open source tools, right? So then you need to know about their preference of operating system, open source tool. Maybe they don't want any kind of licensing involved. Then they don't want any vendor lock-in, or they have preference for certain cloud providers. So you have to know all of that. So remember, you have to gather all that information beforehand before you come up with the solution. So there are a whole lot of questions you need to ask as well. Maybe the application or the workload that you're planning to design that requires integration with some third party applications, internal applications. Okay, so you need to know if there is integration requirements as well. Okay, it's not standalone. That is also a question you need to ask. If it is a modernization or a refactoring journey that you are involved in, then you need to know previously was it a monolith or was it multi-tiered, and can it be actually broken into microservices or no? Everything doesn't cannot be broken down, right? Certain things may not suit the microservices design pattern. So those things also you need to ask so that you can accurately advise them. Okay, so these are the questions that you ask beforehand. And of course then there is functional requirements. Okay, functional requirements are what the application actually should do, what modules it should have, etc. Okay, what the application actually does. There is one part of it which is very important, that is the non-functional requirements, which as a solution architect you need to gather upfront. Okay, now what is non-functional requirement? So non-functional requirement is things like what is the response time of the application? Are there any kind of SLAs that you have? If it's like a mission critical application, you would require less than 1 second of latency or response time. Number of requests per second that you are expecting, that your application should be able to handle. any kind of data replication requirements that you have. So then you'll have to think about that as well. uh, where is the user base located? Is it regional? Is it restricted to one region, or it's global? Okay, so that is also a non-functional requirement. Okay, so if it is global and you're delivering content, then you'll start thinking, okay, static content, maybe CloudFront will help. Okay, so you need to know the user base. So these are all non-functional requirements which you need to know upfront. Okay, what is the is the requirement such that the application handles like a standard traffic, or there are a lot of peaks which are possible? So then you will have to think of a workload which can handle such kind of peak or intermittent traffic. Or does it need require a lot of scaling? Okay, so then it has to be a scalable architecture. Then auto scaling groups come into place if you're talking about EKS, ECS, which can scale automatically the pods, the tasks. Then you have to think of those kind of things as well, right? So these are the things which come under non-functional requirement, which you need to figure out. Now, once all this is done, like I said, you cannot have one solution. You should have multiple options which you present. Okay, and you should be ready to fail fast. Meaning, say you've chosen one of them and it's not working well, so be ready to take feedback and improvise on it. The other way of taking feedback is doing something called as performance benchmarking, where you compare the performance of your application with some industry standards or some SLAs that you have within your organization. So there could be RPOs and RTOs also, recovery point objective, recovery time, time objective, and you compare and see is it meeting that or not. Now, since I'm saying these are numbers, okay, so as a solution architect, remember that you might feel that metrics, graphs, these are for operational stuff. So it is not. Okay, so you should be good at interpreting those graphs and charts and metrics as well. Okay, because you'll read those data points and then you'll improvise on it, right? So if you're not able to understand that, how will you advise further for improvement? Okay, so it is very essential that you should go into services like CloudWatch. It is a underestimated service like CloudWatch. People don't give it that much importance, but it is literally the health of your application and gives you a lot of insight. So please go there and have a look. So that, okay. And finally, like I said, as a solution architect, it's an iterative process. Be open to feedback. Okay, you don't give a solution and your work is done and you relax. You keep taking feedback and improvise on it. Yeah, so looks like Ashish is here to tell me like enough.
Yeah, I mean, this
So
topic is so interesting that we could hear on and on, but yeah, obviously we have to
yeah,
respect other people's time too.
sure.
And those are golden nuggets, Parna. I think you should be having that put together in a blog or maybe share in an email, because there are so
Yeah,
much information there. One thing I want to add, that it's okay to say I don't know into these discussions. You're not expected to know everything, and better to say I don't know rather than giving wrong information to customer, because if you give wrong information, you are breaking that trust. Next time they won't trust whatever you are saying, because that may be wrong. So it's better to say I don't know, let me come back to that, and then you can move forward. But now don't ask me question that how many times I can say in a meeting I don't know, right? So it should not be repeated multiple times. At least you should know basic stuff. Anything very specific, anything which is very unique, if you don't know, it is expected. Nobody is Google, as I always say. So Google is a service, not a person. So make sure that you are aware about saying no rather than giving wrong information to us. Thanks, Parna. These were golden information of
so
the
Ashish,
being a solution architect.
yeah, so I had some resources. I just give me 2 minutes, which I wanted to share with the folks. Just give me a minute. Can I just share my screen? So I'll just take
Yeah,
you.
go ahead. I'll add it to the screen. Go
So I
ahead.
don't have slides. 1 minute.
And we will share these in email, so that don't worry, you will have access to these things if needed. So let me
Yeah.
add this to stage.
Okay. So a long time ago, I think when James was taking the sessions, he had spoken about architectural katas. Like most people say that, okay, if I'm a programmer, I can go to different websites and practice my programming skills. In a lifetime, a solution architect probably just architects 5, 6 times in their whole lifetime, big architectures. So how do they practice? So this is a great website which I came across. I remember he had spoken about it, and I'll share their GitHub link also. So there are these situations over here, different kind of situations, and you can open it up and read about the requirements, and then think as a solution architect how would you go about it. So it's really good. There are a lot of these different situation scenarios with non-functional requirements also in there. So we'll share this link. I'll share it with Ashish, and you can go through this. So it's called as architectural katas. So katas comes from a Japanese word. So if any of you have done karate, these are routines. So on a day-to-day life, you do not fight on the road, right, to practice. So these routines help you practice. So this is going to help you practice your architectural skills. Another place where I would like you to look at is This Is My Architecture. So this is a great series that AWS has of This Is My Architecture, and these videos are from different organizations where their solution architects come in and literally whiteboard and show you how they have built that architecture. So this is a great series. Then how to build this. Okay, so if you have an idea and you don't know how to start building it, so this is another series which you can learn from. And finally, there is also something called as AWS Solutions Library. Okay, so in the Solutions Library also you can browse through different kinds of popular solutions, and they've given prescriptive advice how to go about it. So these are some of the places where you can learn. Okay, so I'll be sharing this with Ashish, and he will put it in the mail to all of you. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much. These are good resource, great resource, and you don't have to look for everything, but pick up what works best for you. You can't learn everything, so pick up what method works for you. Some people learn by doing, some people learn by video, some people learn by reading. So find out what works best for you and then go for it. But there is ample thing to learn and ample resources to use. So thanks everyone. It was a pleasure, honor, and a privilege to be with you for these 14 weeks. We hope everyone had learned something. I have added Kapil also. Just a closing remark from all of us. We enjoyed really being here, and your feedback and your success story what keeps us motivated. So keep them coming. We will be taking a pause now because the batch 5 officially has ended, but we'll come back with other batches and other ideas as we move forward. It's been a phenomenal journey for us too. We also learned a lot. We experimented, we shared knowledge, we also learned from you, we heard of your success story. So that is really, really great. So use Discord channel. We share exam question also there. We also try to answer those questions, say when it is wrong, when it is right, and any other communication you want to do, join Discord. We will be seeing. We will be also seeing some of you into, so like I and Prasad would be seeing some of you into the uh, Cloud Career Journey mentoring session. So that is today, and we have a guest speaker who would talk about how technical interviews, how to prepare for technical interviews. So that is another stream which we are doing. Thanks everyone. Kapil, Parna, you want to add any closing remarks?
No, I just wanted to say thanks, and as we discussed a little bit, feel free to reach out if you have any question, ask for help. Maximum, like, we will be not able to respond immediately. There is a lot of things like Office, Slack, Discord channels, your own learning and family time. So that's there. But if you reach out and we have this, then probably we'll respond maximum by one day. So I'm happy to help in any shape and form. If we can motivate you, guide you on the right path. So that is like always a privilege and a value.
Yeah, I think Ashish and Kapil have summed it all up, and like keep connected. Don't leave. We are still going to come back in some time, and I'll see you again, all of you, and hope you enjoyed all the sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. Have a good weekend and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.